What is up, everybody? Chris Fluke here, Chris Fluke Podcast, episode number 142. It's a Thursday up here, man. We're getting some fall weather, and I'm enjoying it. I spent some time in the sauna. I swam, hit the sauna this morning after dropping my daughter off from preschool. And while I was in that sauna, I was thinking back to a conversation I had a few days ago. Now, over the weekend, we were at a sports bar to celebrate a friend's 40th birthday party. So they rented out this awesome room upstairs. We're down in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, right by where the Bethlehem Steel used to be. Probably about a 5-minute drive down the road. So we're down there. We're in this old hotel that they renovated, and it's a pretty nice spot. TVs everywhere, football games on everywhere. And before going to this party, I'm like, you know what? I'm just not going to eat until afterwards. I don't know what kind of food they're going to have. If I eat some stuff that I don't typically eat, I'm going to feel like crap. Blah, 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 right? So that lasted for about an hour. And I get there, and I'm looking around, man. I'm seeing a lot of people eating. I'm seeing some food that looks okay. I'm like, oh, they got meatballs. Maybe I'll eat some meatballs. Well, some meatballs turned into like 15 meatballs. Then I'm looking, they have some veggies and some hummus. I start devouring that. They got some pineapple, which I have a weakness for. I eat about, 35 pineapple chunks. Bunch of other fruit. And while I'm eating these vegetables, and while I'm eating these veggies and hummus, a friend from back in the day comes over. Now this is somebody that I knew since probably before preschool. And they look at me and they said, "Hey, still doing that health thing, huh?" And I was like, yeah, I believe I am, yeah. And they were like, "Well, it's probably like a lifestyle now, right?" And I was like, "Yeah, I believe that it is, right?" Now keep in mind, it just doesn't become a lifestyle overnight. If we go back in time and we take a look at old school Chris here, and I'm not saying this, I hope this doesn't come off as some sort of self-righteous thing here. All I'm sharing with you is that I let myself get into terrible physical condition, and I was slowly but surely able to get out of that awful physical condition just by trying new things out over the years, right? So this is what happened. 3-sport athlete in high school, decide I'm not going to play sport in college. Now, the entire time I'm in high school, I have this awful relationship with food. I don't know if it's from years of wrestling. I just don't know where it stems from, really. But like sweet tooth big time. And if I go in, I'm going all in. I'm not just going to have one cupcake. I'm having 7 cupcakes. I'm not having one small scoop of ice cream. I'm going to get 3 scoops and then maybe have some for later. All right. If I decide I'm going in, I go in. All or nothing. I do that with, drinking. When I used to drink alcohol, it was the same way. I'd have this incredibly high tolerance for a lot of things that I would be able to consume massive amounts of it, and it was just wreaking havoc on my health. High school ends, you go to college, right? People talk about the freshman 15. I think I probably doubled that. I wrestled 171 as a senior in high school. I was over 205 at some point in time, into my freshman year in college, right? So, we're talking about 30 plus pound weight gain in a few short months. Now, what happens when you gain massive amounts of weight is that your body's going to start producing these fat cells, right? Now, at one point, this was just a theory. It's like once you gain a bunch of weight, it's hard to get that weight. It's hard to get that weight off and look you could weigh the same, but you're not going to look the same. I always had this kind of thought in my mind. So if you put on massive amounts of weight, your body's going to, new fat cells are going to be formed in your body. These fat cells, once they are there, are going to stay there. They could shrink, they could almost diminish, but they don't go away. And what those fat cells are doing then, once you gain a massive amount of weight, they might shrink down, but they're just waiting to be fed. And then you could balloon right back up to where you were. It's why you could get that quick, rapid weight gain. Somebody drops 25 pounds, they might gain 30 of it back, right? And when they do that, not only do they enlarge those fat cells that they do have, but new fat cells are going to be formed and built into that body system that they're going to get fatter, basically, right? So you got these fat cells. Art DeVaney, who was just a legendary kind of a fitness guy, right? And somebody raised their hand and was like, "Hey, Arthur, what is your advice? What do you recommend for somebody that's trying to lose body fat?" He said, "Don't get fat in the first place." And it sounds snarky and it sounds a little bit like kind of like an a-hole, that answer, right? But there's a lot of truth to it, because once those fat cells are in your body, like I said, they're going to stay there. They could shrink. Yale University, man, they did the study, they did the research on this. They don't go away. They're there. They're just waiting to be fed. So I have this ability to fluctuate a ton of weight. I think it kind of stems from that. Back in the day with wrestling, it was the same idea. I remember one time we'd put on we would have a weigh-in on a Wednesday night, and we would see who could gain the most weight to that Thursday, going into that Thursday practice, right? Some of us would gain over 10 pounds in less than 24 hours. And then we'd have to cut all that weight back down again to make weight on Saturday. You know, these big fluctuations end up wreaking havoc on your body. And people talk about metabolism and all that stuff. The more fat cells you have in your body, you know, there will be changes in your metabolism. So instead of thinking about things in like the starvation mode, or am I burning fat, am I burning carbs, it just basically comes down to your body's going to just have more fat cells. And when you have more fat cells, all of these other changes are going to start happening hormonally, metabolically, whatever it may be. So, like Art Devaney said, the best thing is to not gain weight in the first place, right? But I did that. So then I was at this point of weighing 205, 210, all right? And now I'm at about 185. I got my body weight down to about, you know, I started working at LA Fitness. You know, you just start working out a little bit harder, right? And you end up losing 5 to 8 pounds. You know, it's not the working out that's going to really get that weight off. It needs to be that lifestyle shift that my friend spoke about. And for me, a lot of that lifestyle shift occurred around 2 big events that happened in my life. One of them was the death of my brother. The other one was meeting Marisa, right? And I don't know. Those 2 things kind of happen a few years apart from each other, but pretty close to each other in terms of the lifespan. When you look at your life in a whole, I mean, I feel like it could have been a 2 to 3 year. You know, I was with Marisa for 2 years, and then my brother loses his life. So my brother's struggling with all kinds of addictive stuff, man. All kinds of, you know, just went hard the same way I did. Except the thing is, there was something in me that didn't dabble with certain things. And my brother, unfortunately, went down this path of dabbling with the wrong stuff. He dies, and as I'm looking at him, you know, struggling his last couple months, I'm thinking to myself, as I'm drinking, you know, 15 beers, what kind of a hypocrite am I? I'm judging him for the actions he's doing, you know, behind a case of beer, and, you know, basically just getting drunk. So I'm getting altered in one way, being judgmental towards something. I'm like, I need to change this. This behavior is not acceptable. I see where this can go, and I see in my friends now where that will go. Not friends, but just people that I know, associates, so to speak, right? Went to school with a lot of people that died. I made that perfectly clear on multiple podcasts, and you can see where substances lead you. So I make this decision, I need to cut alcohol, right? Because alcohol was not doing any good for me. So I do that. Around the same time, you know, a few years into that, I meet Marisa now. And Marisa's got this autoimmune stuff going on, which I'll probably just get her on the podcast to explain her whole kind of transformation. But in a nutshell, her entire life, she had autoimmune issues, basically. And she'd be very reactive to certain things that she ate, and she would feel miserable. And there's been some nights where I would see her curled up in the fetal position on the floor in the bathroom, you know, shaking because of something that she ate or consumed or had some sort of flare. What she decided to do was to do an elimination diet. She eliminated things that were potential, that were causing the issues. And then you introduce those things, and then if you end up feeling like crap after reintroduction, then you know that that's the item that makes you feel like crap. So she starts dabbling with different things. She has a book called The Grain Brain. I read this book, and I'm starting to read about what flour and gluten and some of these other things do to your body. And I'm just like, you know what, maybe I can cut that out. A lot of it had to do with cognition, really, that scared me the most, like the mental side of things. And also just storing extra body fat, really. It's like eating massive amounts of bread just didn't seem to be very conducive to my long-term health. And then you read about this mental component of it, and, you know, these flours and some of these foods that can negatively affect your brain health as you get older, right? So you start experimenting with a few things, right? I cut out these peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. I'm not eating pretzels anymore. I'm eating burgers, but I'm just getting burgers and fries with no bun. You know, stuff like that, right? You just alter, you do some little things, and then you realize, you know what? It's not that big of a deal. Now we're at this point where we're making these, or not me, Marisa's making these alternative things like pizza crust that just are incredible. It's like if she makes one of these little personal pizzas, it tastes better than anything you would buy and make, like a gluten-free crust or something like that, or you buy a frozen one from the store. I mean, Marisa's little gluten-free pizza there just dominates it, right? So you just make some of these alternative foods taste tasty. Now, how does this become a lifestyle, right? we kind of went into it. I had 2 life-altering events. One was my brother, and one was meeting somebody that was just a positive influence on me. And when you think about dietary changes, like I spoke of how I just changed my workouts and went from 210 to 200, right? Still overweight. For me, at my height, I should be under 170, right? I'm not going to be down there. But at that point in time, I was still maybe over fat, we'll call it, all right? Too much body fat. So you start making some dietary changes. You whittle off 3 pounds here, 5 pounds there. You drop 3 to 5 pounds in a year. Guess where you are in 2 to 3 years, right? You're down and you're holding that 10 pounds off pretty well. The longer it takes for you to kind of lose that weight, the more likely that it's going to stay off. What does that mean? Half a pound? I mean, Jesus, half a pound a month is really nothing, right? And when you think about it, in a month, half a pound a month, it's 6 pounds over the course of the year. If you're 20 pounds overweight, you keep whittling away. And in 3 or 4 years, you're going to hit your goal number, right? And you're going to be able to keep it off. That's going to serve you better as you get older. Instead of dropping that 20 pounds in the first year and having that drastic weight cut, and then one little slip up and those fat cells are just waiting to freaking blow up on you. And then you're going to put on 22 pounds. We heard that story, right? Lose 20, gain 25. So the longer it takes, slow and steady progress, make a small goal, 1% of your body weight, is a fair thing to lose in a week. That's like the top end, in my opinion. If you're 200 pounds, you don't want to drop more than 2 pounds a week. I would even argue 0.5% of your body weight would be an ideal place. So a 200 pounder dropping 1 pound a week, that's 4 pounds in a month. That's a lot of weight, all right? How long could you keep that up for? I don't know. But just remember, slow and steady, man. A pound a month is a big deal. If you can drop a pound in a month, that's 12 pounds at the end of a year. That's big time weight loss right there. Now, going back to that lifestyle shift, going back to the nutrition side of things, you need a good solid support system. You need to surround yourself with people who might eat the same way that you do or will at least tolerate the way that you eat, You need somebody that'll not be judgmental, not fight you on every little thing. If you want this weight to come off and you want it to last. Remember how many years you're going to be on this earth, and remember that it doesn't all have to happen right now. Keep your goals small, keep your goals obtainable, and just keep continuing to put one on top of the other so that 6 to 8 years down the road, when you run into some old friends at a party, they're going to be like, wow, this must be a lifestyle change. And they try to think about how they could apply that to their life, and it seems too much. It seems to be, you can't accomplish it. It's not true. You can. I believe in human beings. I believe that human beings have the ability to change, and there's a lot of people that have done it out there, and I know that you can too. You just have to be patient. You have to stay the course. You have to create some sort of plan and to just keep checking the box on all those little wins that you get. And those little wins are going to build up into something special. Chris Fluck Podcast. If you have any questions, leave them in the box below. Subscribe to this on YouTube if you like what you hear. Give me a review, rating, whatever it is on Apple, Google. I'm trying to get this podcast out to as many people as possible. And in order for us to do that, we got to kind of get a little bit of a bump in the algorithm. All right? How do you get that? Comments, likes, subscriptions, ratings, all that good stuff, man. Share this with some friends. And most importantly, if you enjoy it, you have a comment, if there's something you want me to discuss potentially, just send it my way, man. ChrisFluck.net's the website. I've got a great newsletter going every Sunday for about 4 years now. We've been pumping this thing out. So go to ChrisFluck.net. All my gym information's there. My blog's there. Podcast videos are there. All that good stuff, man. Hope you guys like it. Peace, everybody.